Okay. All right. So M2 is back here, and I'm going to use M2 throughout the session, but actually after the session, I'll probably use it for more. So let's start. I say he because it's a masculine voice to me, so I refer to him with male pronouns, but you can call your M2 whatever you want. So I started M2 as a new session. It typically asks me what I want to focus on, but it already started listening, so I think it already knows what I want to focus on. And so I'm going to start my session. Let me make sure I'm clicking on the right thing to open. It's this one. Okay. Hopefully, I am sharing my slides. Perfect. Okay. So,
Okay.
just again, I'm Susan. I'm a middle school teacher. I said I was computer science, but I really have taught everything in my career. I've been teaching, I think this is year 29 for me, but I'm still really curious about teaching and really excited about still honing in my craft, knowing that I can always get better. And as students change, it's really important to keep changing. So, as a new teacher, gosh, I'm just going to say being a new teacher is super challenging. So, we're going to focus on three parts of it: focused feedback, teaching ideas, and then this idea of offloading the tasks that maybe someone else can do for you. And so that's where our focus is for today. But the stats here, I think, are crazy. So we know novice teachers benefit from support. Honestly, all teachers benefit from good support. We know teachers often feel isolated without support. And as a teacher who has been in 5 states, I think 12 schools, teacher mentor programs vary dramatically from state to state and from school to school. But roughly 40% of novice teachers are leaving the career field in the first 5 years. So this is something that when I read, I'm just like, oh my goodness, like I have totally enjoyed my career and I have many, many more years to enjoy my career. But that seems like being a new teacher is a lot more difficult than when I started. So we talk about focused feedback. So new teachers, they tend to get observed more often, but honestly, like leadership wants to like leave them alone a little bit. Because it's so daunting when a leader comes in to observe you. And as a new teacher or as a new to a school teacher, I always found it really daunting to have someone observe me that I didn't already know or have a comfort level with. And I think M2 does a really good job of supporting this. So M2 gives you personalized, focused feedback. You pick the focus, you pick the class, you are in complete control. You can see your feedback during the lesson, like I can do right now by just clicking, and I know you can't read the screen. Um, but it's giving me feedback. So it just said, you're sharing great insights. Now consider inviting participants to share their own experiences with mentor programs to increase engagement and connection. So that's a pretty solid piece of advice during a class or doing during a webinar. If it's too much to look at during the lesson or during the webinar, you can just review it at the end. So really, it is not replacing an instructional coach, but supporting an instructional coach. So you could have an instructional coach come in and give you feedback, but I can use M2 4 or 5 times to kind of like practice and get feedback and learn from that feedback and reflect on that feedback before I even invite in an instructional coach. Okay. So you're just gonna launch M2, start it up, log in, and then it will give you feedback. That's a better screen because I know you can't see mine well, of what it looks like when it's giving you feedback. And I'm gonna say my people are right over there. But isn't it funny that it addresses me, Susan, in that image? That's just random. Or I think it's just random. So here's some real feedback I got, or some real prompting, I should say. So it starts by welcoming you to your own class, and asking for feedback. I really focus, this year, I'm really focusing on student engagement, and pacing, especially at the beginning of the year. And so I set that as my goal. And then this is feedback from multiple sessions because I do repeat what I teach 3 different times. And so I practice 3 times to try to get it better each time. So here's some feedback. I'm not going to read them all to you, but I'll just kind of jump through them, so you can see nice positive affirmations M2 is giving me some ideas along the way, giving me some check for understanding. And as you read some of these, you might think to yourself, oh, I would already do that. And that's great. But new teachers don't learn all this stuff in college, and it really just takes practice. Um, I don't know about you, but my first year was just a disaster because there was so much new stuff learning. Um, so having little itty bitsy things that I could correct would be super helpful. It does say awesome a lot. I like that word, so I'm okay with that. And you can see a lot of the lessons I teach. We are learning AI, and of course, it's computer science class. So then at the end of the lesson, or whenever I finish the lesson or turn off M2 for that session, I get a summary. So I get a summary of, or like, my insights. And it's going to rate me every time on my engagement, my pacing, and my questioning. So you can see it gives me a little feedback and then gives me a score. I This one's kind of a mixed right bag. Yeah, 3, 2, 3. I'll take that. I'll take that as a win. And then what I really like about this is this button. So I used to go home and like think through my class with my husband, and let's just be honest, my husband had no idea what was happening in my class and honestly couldn't help me problem solve what was happening in my class. And so if I could pause, if I could go back 29 years and just force myself to pause and reflect before I left my classroom, start with the positive. What did I do great today? Start with maybe looking at this. What is the one little thing I'm going to tweak before tomorrow? And then, of course, that positive affirmation at the end. But that moment to reflect here helps you really think through how that class went. Okay, so I'm going to have you pause and reflect. Um, oh, I lost my place here on my slides. Let's see. Um, okay, so and go ahead and drop this in the chat. But what skill would you want to focus on first? I said student engagement and pacing, which is definitely 2 skills. But what is that? What is one of those skills that you would like to focus on? And if it's not you, then what do you think other teachers would want to focus on? Okay, Joe said pausing. I love that. Levels of questioning. That's a good one. And M2 will help you with those questions as well. Feedback to students. Love it. Thank you very much for participating. And then let's end this one with a positive. What is the one thing in your class that is like your strength? What other strengths do we have? Question and wait time. I've learned multiple times. I think it's like a COVID thing that when you ask a question, you have to spell out your full name twice, and that's your wait time. Collaborative strategies, I love it. Building relationships, Monica, that's my goal these days. Engagement relationships. Oh, wow. Okay. This is great. Very engaging group. Thank you. So then the other thing that M2 does is it gives you a lot of teaching ideas. Based on how long you've been in the classroom is probably depending, we could probably judge the length of your lesson plan based on how long you've been in the classroom. The longer you're in, the shorter your lesson plans get, unless you're at a school that has to turn them in. And there's probably, my North Carolina folks are probably checking in on that. That was a big thing in North Carolina. So we come up with these great plans, but plans change because kids say things and you're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And you want to head off from there. Maybe it's a discussion, maybe it's a teachable moment. I've had a couple of these classes recently where I just left the class being like, that was the best conversation ever. Um, and so here's some of that feedback. And so some of it's still giving you it's still giving you suggestions, but I'm helping you to change if you need to change. And so again, these are real comments that M2 has given me in class.
Oh, I like that one.
You like that curiosity?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And then here's where we totally went in different directions than I was ever planning. So we had watched a video about a neuroengineer, but we also had a fire drill in the middle of it, so it was a little hectic.
Mhm.
And so when we came back to class, we just asked M2 to kind of like help us remember what a neuroengineer was. They did a pretty good job. He definitely listened to the video we were watching. And then here's where I pass off the mic. So a mic comes with it. You can pass it off. They push a button. They can talk to M2 anywhere in the classroom. So here are the questions that my students need to know. Some of them I had to leave off because they always want M2 to predict the Super Bowl winner, and M2 is not willing to do that.
No, he doesn't like talking about sports
Yeah, he
and
doesn't like predicting the future is
no.
not his strength. That's fair.
Hmm.
I did think they were really getting into the ethics of AI, which is so cute that we were using AI to talk about the ethics of AI. There's a lot happening in that moment. But like, this is a question that I would have no idea what the answer is.
Right.
So it's nice to just kind of like phone a friend.
Hmm.
So think of a lesson that you taught last week or this week, or maybe even before that. What would your students want to ask M2? Or perhaps they ask you and you're like, I don't know, let's Google it. What is a question that you may get asked? Or maybe they asked, maybe they didn't ask, maybe you're just, or maybe you're thinking it ahead. Either way, what's a question your students would want to ask M2? M2 is reminding me I need to slow down and let you think. Who are you? That's a good one. I think M2 would give you an answer for that. Let
That would be
me
interesting.
ask,
Yeah.
why do I need to learn math? Math helps us solve everyday problems like managing money, measuring things accurately, or even planning trips. It also trains your brain to think logically and solve problems in any situation. What kind of everyday problems do you think math could help you solve? And he does talk out loud. I just thought the competing sounds might be a challenge.
Mm.
Okay, one event in the US is similar to the oh, that's a neat one. I wonder what that would be. Why am I learning this? Am I ever going to use this? Is this for a grade? Mm-hmm. Yep. Love that one. All right, thank you guys so much for participating in that.
Mhm.
So the third thing that I think is really important for would be really important for new teachers and something that M2 can really support is this concept of offloading tasks. There are a lot of things that teachers do on the repeat. The first one, repeating directions. And so I will give directions and then I will have M2 repeat the directions. And then any student could walk up to M2 and have the directions repeated again. Um, I think the kids might listen to M2 and take him more seriously than me sometimes, but I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
Um, in the minute, like in the moment of teaching, M2 can create a question and do a check for understanding. M2 can tell you a joke if you need to take a moment and have a little bit of a laugh. I'm not going to say it's going to be a giant laugh, but a little bit of a laugh. M2 can summarize your lesson. So if you need to post what you did for the day, it will give you a summary and then you could post that right on your learning management system. It can also summarize that lesson in a different language and do it pretty quickly. And then, of course, any of the directions could be repeated in multiple languages. And there is a new part of M2 coming out to focus on that. I'm not going to focus on that today, but I am super excited about it. Joe, did you want to add something? Are you
I
raising your hand?
do, I do, I do, I do.
Oh, please do.
Okay, this what you were just saying that it could, oh man, did I just lose it? I swear. When you were talking about it will repeat in other languages, tell me again what you said about that.
So it will, if I
The
go over the
summary, the
directions.
summary, the
Oh yeah.
summary.
So both of the things you can have translate. And I'm in an area where kids have lived in other countries. And so we've tested it with a lot of different languages. And they all think it's really good. Um,
So if it listens to me teach and then I say, I would tell them to give me a summary in Spanish, or do I have to go push that button in the activity?
oh, I would just say like, hey, M2, translate that summary into Spanish. Let me show you. I
Okay,
actually have a screenshot. Joe, let me
okay.
pull it up for you. Okay, let me go here. Okay, so let me go back a second, Joe, and then I'll get to that. So this is the summary that I got after teaching my class. And I would certainly go through and just verify it's good. But then I could post this on my learning management system if I needed to like share with parents what we were doing in class. So here's the joke. It was on topic because this is the day we were learning about the neuroengineer. It's never like super funny, but you know, doesn't have quite the personality, but it's okay.
It's
And so
robot funny.
yeah, it's robot funny. Um, so here's me saying like, "Hey, repeat the directions," and it is like spot on. And I'm telling you, like, I was like, "Wow, like it listens." Students, did you
Mhm.
listen? Okay, so here's my summary. Here's me asking it on the fly versus getting it at the end. Um, and then on the next one, I asked it to translate it into Spanish. And I do not speak Spanish, nor would I even attempt to tell you if this is good or not. But when I had my Spanish teacher look at it, she was impressed.
Okay, I got another question. Go
Please.
back. You were in your task cards for that summary?
So I was in my personal, Sarah, I might be off on my language here, but I was
Mhm.
in my activity. I was t still teaching the lesson with
In your
my
M2
microphone.
session, right? In your
Mhm.
session.
And
Yeah.
then I pushed the button and asked this.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you.
So this one was on the fly. Like this was like
Okay.
a moment. I was like, hey, translate that. to add on to the end. Have you not used the translate stuff yet? Is that going to be something new?
Right. We just got our demo remotes and
Oh,
so I knew how to just take it and let one kid but I didn't think about this at the end of class summarizing. So this might be something else, another way I can go with this in other classes for this student. So,
awesome. I'm excited about the you have the ones with the earpiece?
mhm.
Oh, I'm jealous. Okay. And then, of course, we can click and ask questions and make connections. And honestly, what I'm showing you on M2 is like the tip of the iceberg. There are so many other things, but as a new teacher, I really think those are the three things we need. We need focused feedback when we want it on our terms so that we can practice, and then bring the instructional coach in when we feel comfortable. We need to be able to change our lesson on the fly and rely on M2 to support us with that. When students ask questions, we don't know the answers because we can't know everything. We can just ask M2 so it doesn't slow down the lesson. And then, of course, offloading some of these tasks that we just do constantly throughout the day. And just things like make a summary, post on your LMS. Like that would not be easy for me to write after being in that class. And so that would save so much time. All right, so here's my pause and reflect. What task would you offload to M2?
Mm.
And our school district just changed from Spanish being the second highest language speaking at home to Russian. And that's been
Oh, wow.
quite dramatic because there's not many people in the school district that speak any Russian. Oh, Kimberly, I love it. So when I say offload, I just mean like share the responsibility, have M2 do something could just save you time.
Or be just one less of the 90 things you're thinking about in a single class period, right?
Yeah. Or even when
Having,
I'm working with one student, I can pass the mic off to somebody else to ask that question. I
right.
love it. Exit tickets, data collection, translation, deeper level thinking, push them beyond their. I love it. This
Mm-hmm.
is a great group. Okay. So I was thinking back, and I feel like I've been a new teacher so many times at so many schools. In fact, my current job, I've been a new teacher here three different times.
Mm.
Um, and so I've mastered the new teacher orientation, although they still made me go three times. Um, so my advice to my younger self is you don't need to be perfect. Teaching is not something you just master your first day in the classroom. Reflect before you get home, but always start with something positive. Find a trusted teacher who will give you feedback without judgment, who will support your growth. And then, of course, stay curious. Even after 29 years or 28 and a half years of teaching, like I'm still excited about trying new things, um, and really diving deeper into like what would make my classroom better, what would make the kids more engaged. And of course, that changes from year to year. And then what I would encourage you, and I'll have Sarah jump in here, is
Mm-hmm.
Swivel now has a level 1 and level 2 course that you can do whenever you're ready. You can join our circle, which is our online community. And then I would encourage you just to turn M2 on and start an activity and just see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are so fascinated by M2.
As Susan is talking, you might see a little links pop up on the bottom of your screen. There's a little resources tab So I have a bunch of resources there that I'm now turning on. So it might say join our community. Another one says certification courses. So Susan is recommending the level 1, obviously, because that's where you would start, and a lot of things that she's been referencing today, whether or not you have been able to use M2, a couple people in here don't have one at all. So if you are someone who wants to start like really digging into like getting your expertise on just the basic level, level 1 and level 2 are both available right now. And we actually just launched level 2 plus today, which is a student makes you an expert at using this for student impact. So it goes beyond just your professional impact or your professional development and takes it into like, what can we do now to expand the use with students? You'll notice that that link is not available yet on the site that I've just put that link up in the resources tab, but I can send it. I don't think anyone would get up to that yet, but it should be live like within 24 hours, but that would be the third course. And as you go through the levels, you'll see in there, that's how you're able to then apply to be like an ambassador or a mentor and participate in things like this, like Susan is doing. So all of that is there, but level 1 is really a great way to dive in and get yourself like acclimated to all of the newer features too. And just where menus are, buttons are, like kind of the why behind some of the basic functionality of M2. And I think it's great for everybody to take. And then level 2 takes you into kind of looking at the data that it gives you. And I saw a couple people in here bring up being interested in that data in the chat today. So that might be something you want to work through, like level 1 and level 2, which really like kind of brings you through all of the stuff that M2 tells you and gives you access to, and how you can read it and then work towards interpreting it to make decisions in your classroom. And then for school wide as well. So that's all available in our certification courses. I'm also going to make the community link. I also made that available. That is where it's a digital community that you can jump in. I think Jo is in there too. Yeah, she is. You can jump in and say hi, introduce yourself. You can talk to other people in similar positions. If you're in the same school and you want me to make a group for you all to talk together, I can do that. But really, it's for connecting with people all over the place who are using M2 for a wide variety of reasons, and sharing their own resources, sharing events and conferences they're going to, asking questions. It's to connect you with other people doing this stuff in their schools. So that's a link to the digital community. For the couple people that were new to M2 in the room today, if you were interested in trying it out and having a demo device sent to your school to try for a couple of weeks, this is a perfect time to do that. I've just put that link in the resources as well. It says get a demo M2. If you fill that out, you will likely there's a good chance it'll be me that contacts you and you'll meet with me and we'll talk about your goals for a demo. But that is the form for signing up for a demo. And then lastly, if you didn't see all of my incessant sending you emails I only sent one email today, but emails with the new teacher worksheet in there, I'm just putting that in the resources again as well. If you didn't already download that, I think it's a great thing to keep, especially if you are working with new teachers or you want to pass it on or keep it as a reminder of ways to kind of get back, if you're not a new teacher, ways to get back to that feeling of what it feels like to look at all this stuff from that lens, which I think is important in everything we do. I think that's it. Those are all my links. If there's anything else that you need, Susan, that I didn't put in there, I think I got everything.
That sounds like everything.
Yeah. And does anyone have any questions? Let's open it up for a couple questions at the moment. If you do and you want to unmute yourself and talk, you can, or you can put them in the chat. Maybe we have no questions.
Ask
Did
any
we cover
question?
every base? You did it
No,
all,
you can ask.
Susan.
Can I ask any question?
Oh, yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, so if you're in the practice in the guide, the guide, here's the magic, hit the guide, the workspace.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the second level.
Of the
No, I'm
certification
not
courses?
saying it right. When
Okay.
when you go into the differentiated activities,
Mm-hmm.
the group guide,
Yes.
hit practice,
Mm-hmm.
go into practice. I did that today and really got some good problems. My question is, when M2 gave me the first problem and he said, okay, now let's pause, y'all talk in your group, put it in your notebook. Do the students have to press the button for him to hear what they're saying while they're talking, or does it just automatically listen in that practice as well?
Think they have to press the button.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have to see. You don't, yeah, Susan couldn't replicate that in front of, I think
Um,
it would take a minute to get into that, I think.
Okay, yeah,
okay.
no, and then, and it doesn't give them the answers, right? The teacher would look at the answers in the
Yeah.
reflection. Okay, good. Okay, all right.
Hmm. Um, okay. I think we're winding down.
Well, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for showing up. I was, as Joe started to talk, I had an idea to share one more link of something, and then I forgot what I was sharing, and then now I've just remembered. But for anyone who is interested, I just scheduled this today, or maybe it was yesterday, but next Monday, um, I think no, this is a later one. Next Monday, we're doing an earlier, this is like a webinar with our product team. I'm gonna put the link here. I'll just put it in the chat, but let me grab the link. I wasn't prepared to share this one, sorry. Okay, this is, Joe was just mentioning, she was referring to something called Group Guide. And we're doing a webinar with our product team next week that talks about transitioning away from what we previously called workspaces into this idea of the group guide as the way we're approaching working in groups with students. So that is a webinar that I would encourage anybody that is working with students and looking to really be proficient in how we're talking about and the language and purpose behind that tool, the new tool. That is a good webinar to jump in, and you'll have full access to our director of product and one of our product managers that works directly on him too. And you can ask them all the techie questions that you could possibly think of during that session. So that's the link I just shared there. And I think now I've definitely given you everything that you need. So thanks everyone for coming to our very first workshop. Our next workshop also, my gosh, maybe I didn't finish sharing. Our next workshop is going to be actually for instructional coaches, and it's going to be on October 9th at this same time. So you can find registration on our website or on our event hub by clicking around on there. But yeah, October 9th. Same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, and that will be with another one of our ambassadors and mentors. And that's it. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Thanks, Susan.
Thanks.
Thanks for being awesome. Thanks, Kimberly. Glad you liked it. Glad everyone could be here.